What up, what up, what up? Welcome to another episode of Debate with Bait, brought to you by Most Serious Entertainment in the heart of Most City, Texas. Of course, I'm your host, Mr. Charles Baker, aka C Bait. That's my co-host. That's my brother from another mother, Gerard Cole, aka Cole, aka Rude Boy. Before we get started, make sure y'all follow Most Serious Entertainment on Instagram and Facebook. Subscribe to Most Serious Entertainment on YouTube. Cole, what's up, brother? We got a busy week. What's going on?
I'm over here chilling, man. I was just watching the Knicks a little while ago, some preseason action, getting it in, getting amped about the season.
That's right, man. Y'all actually looking pretty good over there. I'm very, very excited about not only y'all, but also our young and up-and-coming Houston Rockets who are looking good. I don't see playoffs yet, Cole, but we definitely improving. I like what I see in New York, but we'll get to that. We'll get to that a little bit later. Of course, the NBA season is kicking off next week. Everybody on next Tuesday. Make sure you get to your TVs, your podcast, or whatever. Anything you love about basketball is here. The NBA 2022-2023 NBA season is kicking off. Regular season start next week. We cannot wait. Here at Debate with Bake, we cannot wait to get started on this NBA season. But before we get to that, Cole, let's get into it. We got a big week in boxing. Big week in boxing. This weekend, you got Deontay Wilder with his comeback fight versus Robert Helenius. We also have Devin Haney going back over to Australia with all four of his belts, WBA, WBC, IBF, and WBO belts to take on in the rematch George the Emperor Kambosos. We have that fight. We also have on the Wilder and Helenius card, and we'll talk a little bit about this fight, Anthony Durrell versus Caleb Plant. For those of you who are not the diehard boxing fans, Caleb Plant is the fight. He fought Canelo Alvarez at 168 before Canelo Alvarez's last fight, which was against Triple G. And Caleb Plant held that IBF belt by which Canelo took it from him to become undisputed at super middleweight, which is 168 pounds. He'll be fighting a longtime veteran by the name of Anthony Durrell, who's a very sharp boxer, a very skilled boxer. And we have this weekend the ladies fighting. We have Clarissa Shields, a.k.a. the GOAT, greatest woman of all time, as she crowns herself. She is undisputed, I believe, twice undefeated. She is putting all of her belts at 168 super middleweight on the line against her longtime nemesis, Savannah Marshall, who in that division possesses the other belt in that division, which is the WBO belt. They are fighting for undisputed for all the marbles. Clarissa Shields is undefeated. Savannah Marshall is undefeated. We call Savannah Marshall's Clarissa Shields nemesis because she actually beat Clarissa Shields in the amateurs. And Clarissa Shields has come out and said that she wanted to avenge that loss when they became pro. Not only do we have that, we have Michaela Mayer. And if I pronounced that wrong, sweetheart, I am so sorry, versus Alicia Baumgartner at the super featherweight division, which is 130 pounds, where they're fighting for 3 belts. I believe Baumgartner has 2 belts and Mayer has 1. The winner takes all 3 belts in that division, and we'll talk about those belts in a minute.
I think they both have 2, by the way. I think they both have 2.
Well, they have 2. I think Mayer has, if I'm not correct, she has 1, but she has the Ring Magazine belt.
IBF and WBO?
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Baumgartner has, you're right. Mayer has 2 belts. Baumgartner has the WBC, I believe. We'll correct that in a But they're fighting at the super featherweight division, which is 130 pounds. So we got a big fight card this weekend. But let's talk about the biggest fight, of course, to me, is the Deontay Wilder versus the Robert Helenius fight. Deontay Wilder, of course, the last time we saw him, ladies and gentlemen, he fought the last fight in a trilogy against Tyson Fury, by which he lost that 3rd fight. And he has been out a while, some time now. And many people are trying to see, a lot of us think that Deontay Wilder can be who he was, but he's taken on Robert Helenius, who is 31-3, and he's ranked in the heavyweight division. I don't have that rank right now, but Robert Eulenius Cole is a training partner, rather a sparring partner of Deontay Wilder. They will fight on Saturday night on pay-per-view. First and foremost, what do you think about this fight, and who do you have winning this fight? And I wonder if did you bet on this fight?
I didn't bet on this fight, but I on that night I am going to be on FanDuel or DraftKings, and I'm probably going to bet on Wilder. I really think Wilder just only met his match with Fury. Besides Fury, I think that he could knock out anybody. To be honest with you, and I think one of the benefits that he has is this is his sparring partner, and he knows how he boxes. Well, I think I got Wilder probably going the length, or I got Wilder going the length. This is a sparring partner. I think they know each other. They're very familiar. So it's going to be a little bit more harder for him to knock him out just because they've been sparring against each other. But I have definitely had Wilder winning. I think he has more to lose. So I think he's going to fight harder. From my understanding from some article I read, Wilder was saying that he wants to leave the game fighting all the top boxers before he leaves.
Right.
And I think that this is going to set him up because if he loses, he's not going to get those fights.
Right.
He's definitely not going to get those fights. So I think it's going to be a good fight. And I got Wilder going winning in 12.
Right. And I agree with you because again, he's fighting a sparring partner, a sparring partner in Eulenius. He's a tough outing, and he knows Deontay Wilder. They've had sparring a lot of times in camp with he's had sparring with a lot of times with Deontay Wilder in camp. Wilder has used him for multiple fights, so he knows Wilder. I'm also saying it's going to go the distance. I'm going to favor Wilder, but I'm going to say it's going to go the distance because a lot of people are excited about him returning. But what I want people to realize is this: that fight, those fights he had with Fury were some of the fiercest fights I've ever seen in boxing, period. And he was knocked down. He knocked down Fury. Fury got up several times, but we don't know what Deontay Wilder will be now. Like we know Deontay Wilder for the incredible power. He was quite an entertainer. That right hand is a big right hand, maybe the best right hand in boxing. So, but you never know how people react to a loss. And the type of loss that he had the last time we saw him in the ring was devastating because he gave everything. I mean, he's probably the only man I don't know if you know, Cole, that's ever knocked down Fury multiple times. And so judging on that, and you got to think about the psychology of a puncher like Deontay Wilder. And what I mean by that is pretty much the majority of your fights, you've knocked people out. I mean, knocked them out, put them out. His power in his right hand is incredible. And so imagine you knocking almost everybody out in all your fights in incredible fashion, and then you got this guy that you're fighting, and you knock him down. And when you knock him down, he gets up multiple times. That's why I agree with you on your assessment about Fury. Is he's the king. I've never seen anybody get up from a Deontay Wilder right hand multiple times in multiple fights. Yep. And so, the psychology, we don't know where Wilder's mind is at because those are tough losses. When you think about a offensive fighter, a fighter with that kind of power that Wilder has, generally speaking, when they hit somebody, when they knock them down, they don't get up. And so even though it's not Fury, we don't know the psychological mindset that Wilder's in. We know what he's capable of. We've seen him. He's only lost to one man in boxing. And so even though he's not facing that guy, you never know how people respond to losing like that, especially a person like Wilder who's pretty much seen all of his opponents go down from that right hand. So I'm leaning towards Wilder, just like you going the distance. I think it's a good fight for him. I think his camp did a good job in matching somebody that he's familiar with to get back in the ring. I think it's a very winnable fight for him. Again, I think Helenius is going to push him to a certain extent because Helenius knows him. When you're in training camp, man, there's certain things that you see with sparring partners that might give you somewhat of an edge. And also, it's just the fact that, again, like I said, I can't reiterate this uh, 1,000 times, but we don't know what Deontay Wilder's going to be.
Yep.
He looks good as far as videos and camp and all that, but we don't know what how he's going to respond. My heart of hearts, I think he's going to win the fight, but I want to see. I also think it's going to go the distance code, because I actually, when I've been watching him in his camp, he's done a lot of different things that he didn't do. He's doing a lot more running. I'm seeing him box more. And so what I mean by that, I'm seeing him use more head movement. I'm seeing him use more lateral movement. I'm seeing him run miles, run sprints. I'm seeing him using, good footwork. And so I'm seeing him being more of a boxer. Now, usually when you have a puncher who's had the success that he's had, and come back and after suffering defeat, you want to go back in and redefine your tool bag. So I know he's going to be anxious to box because he's picked up new skills. And so I think he's going to be anxious to get in there and box. And it'll be interesting to see, he's going to box, but where is he going to be if he's if he's boxing and he thinks that he can get the knockout, is he going to go straight to the knockout if it's there? So I think it's going to go the distance too. For that reason, is I know he's going to be anxious to box, because again, when you're doing what he was doing and then you lose to the same guy, I think it was twice out of the three in that trilogy, it's natural for you in your mindset to say, hey, I need to change something. So watching what I've seen in him in camp, I think he's training with Malik Scott. I think he's going to be eager to box. I think he's going to be eager to show his new skills. So he may want to box a little bit. He may want to try something different, and no better stage than to do that with your sparring partner. But I think we'll see in this fight, and you tell me how you feel about this, if he's capable, and you alluded to this just a little bit earlier, if he's capable of getting back to where he was. And he also expressed that he would be open to a fourth fight with Fury. I don't know if that happens, but we don't know. I think for that path, it's going to take quite a few people. I think he's going to have to beat Helenius, of course. He'll probably end up having to fight Anthony Joshua, which, I mean, he probably doesn't have to fight. Let me rephrase that. But that's a resume builder. He's probably going to fight Andy Ruiz. Yeah.
Usyk.
If Usyk said he'll fight him, and so you never know, because at the end of the day, when we talked about this on the earlier episodes, the heavyweight division is interesting now. The only sure factor is Tyson Fury at the top. He is the king, the lineal champ. So he keeps coming back. I think he's getting ready to fight a third fight with Trezor, which I don't understand, but I guess he just wants to fight. He's called out Anthony Joshua. He sent Anthony Joshua a contract. There's been some issues with that. Usyk said that he was hurt, but Usyk right now, because he's saying he's hurt, he doesn't want to fight Fury right now. He wants to give Fury a date, but Fury doesn't want to take that date. So, of course, I think Wilder can get back to supremacy, because other than Tyson Fury, I don't see anybody who's superior to Wilder. Maybe Usyk, because of the body of work that Usyk has done, but I don't know if Usyk stands as far as Wilder is a heavyweight, a legit heavyweight. Usyk can be a cruiserweight. Now Usyk has superior boxing skills, but
he just needs to get hit once.
Right. And at the end of the day, which is not an easy thing to do. It's not an easy thing to do, but at the end of the day, there is nobody besides Tyson Fury, if Wilder is who we think he is, or if he's new and proved, that we can definitely say is dominant, So
yeah,
I think the heavyweight division is wide open.
I
You
would
know what
personally
I'm
say my only issue I ever had with Wilder, I just never felt like he was in tip top shape. I felt
saying?
like he'll fight all his fights, and by like the sixth, seventh round, he just looked gassed. I'm like, come
Right,
on, man.
right, right,
So, and I
right.
think now that you saying he's running sprints, he's taking all these laps and stuff. I think that's what's going to be the difference for him is that if he worked on his conditioning, then I think he could be an elite boxer.
Exactly. And the thing about it is this, if you look at the maturation of, let's say, punchers, or power guys, you know, and I think Wilder was kind of a victim of this in the sense that when you carrying that kind of power, it's kind of like you have to be very humble to say, okay, I can't just live by this. But when you're a young boxer and you got incredible skill like that, when you have
Mm-hmm.
power like that, I think you're either born with it or you don't have it. I mean, there's some things you can work on technique wise as far as your hips and, your hip positioning and all that. But when you're young like that, you tend to fall in love with that. And
Mm-hmm.
when you meet a titan, a big time person or a big time boxer and puncher like a Tyson Fury, that's probably good for Wilder's career because you meet a guy who's not afraid of you. You meet a guy, and shout out to Tyson Fury. I think what Tyson Fury did is he's already a superior boxer. His footwork, his head movement, his body movement, he's an elite boxer. But I
Mm-hmm.
think what Fury did was incredible in his game plan in the sense that he bulked up when he fought Deontay Wilder because he knew that Deontay Wilder's power, if he didn't bulk up, there's a chance that he would be knocked out. And,
Mm-hmm.
you know, credit to him in the sense that he bulked up a little bit. And when I say bulk up, I'm not saying he lifted 1,000 pounds, but he allowed himself to have extra weight because of the guy that he was going in. He took that with his superior boxing skills. And, when he got knocked down, he got back up. And, I think in a sense that's good for Deontay Wilder because it humbled him.
Yeah.
Now I'm interested to see now that you know that you can be beat, and not only were you beat, but you were beat by the same guy, arguably 3 times,
Mm-hmm.
and this guy got up from your power, that will push you in the right direction if you're a real fighter, if you decide to come back. So I think it's good for him. I think this humbles him, for all you young boxers out there, or even young athletes, period. It's a testament of you homing your skills and being well-rounded. When you're
Mm-hmm.
one, and I'm not saying that Wilder is a one-trick pony, but it seemed like that at times, because I mean his power was so devastating, and I tell you that all the time. That's what surprised me about Tank, is that I
Yeah.
thought Tank, I didn't realize how good of a boxer Tank was. I always thought, because it's so easy to fall in love with that. That's a great skill to have. I mean, the thing is this: you're that young, you're knocking people out, you know. Why run miles? You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? Unless you're really thinking about the future, or unless you're really thinking about being the complete boxer. It's
Mm-hmm.
easy to fall in love with that. So I think Tyson Fury, if Deontay Wilder can respond the way that we think he can respond, I think this helped his career. I think he understands now that, there's a guy out there. I'm not the best. I'm one of the best. I thought I was the
Mm-hmm.
best, but when somebody can take my power and somebody's not intimidated by me, now I got to go back to the drawing board. It's the same thing I say about with young players, in particular when I'm thinking about this example, and I'm kind of getting off topic, but I'm kind of relating this.
Mm-hmm.
When you're coaching young players or young athletes and you're telling them, hey man, you need to do this, but they're so skilled in one area that they may not think it's important when you tell them the other things that they need to do to be a well-rounded athlete or even a person. Sometimes
Yeah.
talent, when you're so talented in the area, and that's what's been getting you there, the drawback is okay. But when you
Hard
meet
headed.
right, and when you meet somebody who can take that power, or somebody that's, in the case of boxing, somebody that's not going to let you do what you want to do, how do you adjust? And when you're
Mm-hmm.
a one-trick pony, that's what happens. You meet a bigger man who's more of a boxer, a bigger man who can take your power, a bigger man who's not intimidated by you. and he matches your power, or he's able to get up from your power, then and that's why I say, man, with Deontay Wilder, I want to see how he responds. How does he respond? His character, he's already showed me a lot of character by coming back and fighting. Because some people thought, Cole, that he was going to retire.
Yeah.
That last fight, that last image I got of him being on the canvas, and he fought with a lot of heart, but he just couldn't get up. And just to see his face, I don't even think Tyson Fury wanted to shake his hand. He wouldn't shake his hand because he was so disappointed. And some people say, well, he said that Tyson Fury cheated, but I don't think Tyson Fury cheated. I just think Tyson Fury did his homework, and Tyson Fury wasn't afraid of him, and Tyson Fury trained for him. So, that last image of I see his face, I remember his face. It was kind of like a look of like he was in so much disappointment that I even thought maybe he will retire. You fight a guy 3 times and, you can't get the best of them, and you've been knocking 30 and 40, 50 guys out. It's kind of like, man, so again, it'll be interesting to see how he responds. I'm glad to see him back. I'm glad to see him doing things that I thought he should have been doing from the beginning, but we'll see, man. That Tyson Fury, that fight, man, those fights, that takes a lot out of you. It takes a lot out of you. So it'll be interesting, man. I'm happy to see him back. I'm with you again, back to what we were saying. I got unanimous decision, but I want to see him box, Cole. I want to see the new things that he does, because if he has new skills, if he's been doing his homework, and now I think he's got the right attitude, he can be a complete boxer to me now. He's already got the power. He's getting older, and so that power, he's still going to have that power. He's not going to have a weight problem because he's already at the heavyweight division. Yeah. But if he can hone those skills, I think he can win. He can pretty much dominate the heavyweight division, and the combination of power and skills that he can have. Hey, knowing what I know about Tyson Fury, he might give him a 4th fight. Now I can't be mad if he doesn't, but Tyson Fury and Tyson Fury is an entertainer. So Tyson Fury is, if it's a big bad dog out there and he feel like he can make some money, he'll give him a 4th fight, I think.
Yeah, I just think he just has to beat 2 boxers, 2 prominent boxers, and I think he'll get another fight.
Well, I agree with you to a certain extent, but I also believe it's how he looks too. Got to be impressive, I think, for a 4th possible fight with Fury. If he looks impressive, and remember we talked about this on the other podcasts, I think if he looks impressive and he gets common opponents with Fury and he outclasses those opponents, then I think the draw is there. And I'm doing what I know about Fury, because right now Fury is hanging around. He's retired 2 or 3 times, but he may be like Floyd in the sense that he can see the money. Of course, he's the best heavyweight in the world, and he knows he's the best heavyweight in the world. I think the only person that did give him a significant challenge, I mean, that Klitschko fight, but that was Klitschko has been long gone.
Yeah, he's been long
gone. So the only guy out there I think that really can match him or give him a match is the guy he beat 3 times, 2 times, Deontay Wilder. So knowing what I know about Fury, man, and I love that about him, he may hang around. I think it depends on how. I think it depends on the money. And I think if Deontay Wilder looks good, the draw for the fight, America versus Europe, or wherever Tyson Fury is from, you can sell it. But I think Deontay Wilder has to do his part. He has to look reborn, rejuvenated. He has to look different than what he looked like since that 3rd fight from Fury. I think it's possible. And I think people will watch it again. But again, Deontay Wilder, in my opinion, has to look impressive. He has to clean out this division, and he has to look good for that 4th fight. I mean, beating the Usyk could help if they fight for the belts. That definitely could help, because we know that Tyson Fury is interested in becoming undisputed. As we know, Usyk has the WBA heavyweight, WBO heavyweight, and the IBF heavyweight belt, and Tyson Fury has the green belt, which is the WBC belt. So we know that Tyson Fury has expressed interest first after beat Anthony Joshua to undisputed. So that could be a path for Wilder. But I think Wilder, I think he has the chance. I think he holds his own destiny. I think he has the chance to rejuvenate himself on Saturday night, to make himself reborn. And I think if he cleans out that heavyweight division, I think he gets a 4th fight. And even if he doesn't, get some more belts and get some more money, because I just believe in my heart of hearts that would still be an accomplishment, even if he doesn't get a chance to fight Fury again, I think he can still clean out the heavyweight division.
Yeah, and it's not a bad thing to lose to the best.
Exactly. That's what I was telling y'all about Triple G. You got to realize about Triple G. Yeah, he looked old. He was outclassed by Canelo, but he only lost to one of the pound for pound guys.
Yeah,
he only lost to one guy. You know what I'm saying? And again, he lost to Canelo, in the trilogy, just like Wilder lost to Fury. So he only lost to the big and best guy. You understand what I'm saying? It's not like you out here and you getting beat. You Adrian Broner. Jesus, Adrian Broner. God. But again, you're out here, you're losing to the best guy. And let's be honest, you're the only one who gave Tyson Fury a real fight. That's why Fury agreed to fight you 3 times.
Yep.
So, shout outs to Deontay Wilder, man. I want to see him. I love comeback stories. I love to see guys go down, come back, lick their wounds, come back, and come back better. So I'm looking forward to it. But I know Helenius is not going to lay down, which will be good. So the other fight I want to talk about, and this is the co-main event on that card that night, we're talking about Wilder versus Helenius, is the Caleb Plant fight versus the Anthony Durrell fight at super middleweight. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the 168-pound division. And Caleb Plant, I think he is the A-side fighter in this fight based on his record and his age. He's 30 years old. He's 21-1. He's got 12 wins by knockout. His one loss, of course, was to Canelo Alvarez, and that was the fight before. Actually, it might have been 2 fights before. Yeah, it was 2 fights because Canelo fought Bivol, and then he fought Triple G. So the fight before the Bivol fight, where Canelo became undisputed at 168 pounds again, which is super middleweight, he beat Caleb Plant. Caleb Plant possessed that last belt, which was the IBF belt. And Caleb Plant is a great athlete, not a good athlete. He's a great athlete. And so he'll be fighting Anthony Durrell, who's kind of a journeyman, but he's still a slick, heck of a boxer. I think he's been a 2-time champion at middleweight or super middleweight. He's a 2-time super middleweight, WBC super middleweight champion. He's also, it's Anthony Durrell, and there's another Durrell that's his brother, but he's a masterful boxer. Of course, he's getting up in age. I think he's about 36.
37. 37. 25 KOs.
Exactly. 25 KOs. He's got 2 losses and 2 draws. But he's a very respected fighter. I mean, I watched him fight. His brother's name is Andre Durrell, by the way. Both of them, I know Andre is an Olympic medalist, but they come from a rich boxing background. So I think this is going to be a good fight. I like this fight because I want to see, we talked about the super middleweight division in terms of Canelo being undisputed. You got guys like Caleb Plant with 1 loss. You got David Benavidez, who's undefeated. And I'm actually hearing that Benavidez might be moving up to 175 because he can't get the fights that he wants. But you got Plant, who's still a respectable fighter. You've got at the middleweight division, you got Triple G, who still holds 2 belts. You got the Charlo. You've got Sebastian Fedora, the 6'7" towering guy that just won this past week. So the middleweight division, even though it's not one of the best divisions, you got some contenders there. But I think this fight is a good fight because this is a fight that kind of where these guys can kind of jock for position underneath Canelo. I think Durrell is on his way out.
Mm-hmm.
But however, his last fight, he looked well. I think he knocked out somebody his last fight. If I'm not, I think I'm correct on that. And he looked impressive. So I got Plant in this fight, Cole. Some people may not think this is an important fight, but I think it's
Mm-hmm.
an important fight in terms of the super middleweight as well as the middleweight divisions. Both guys can go down. I think Plant has a better chance of going down if he wants to. I don't see Plant going down to 160, but um, we'll see. Yeah, I think he just beat Darrell just beat Marcos Hernandez. I watched that fight. It was
Mm-hmm.
an impressive knockout. So Darrell shows me he still got gas in the tank, but I highlighted this fight because that's going to be a great fight on that Wilder and Helenius card. I got Plant just because I think Plant is the younger fighter. I think Plant is the better athlete. Now Darrell has a lot of skills. I
Mm-hmm.
just think Plant is a better athlete. But I like this fight in terms of the super middleweight division, the Canelo's division. I want to see the pieces come together to see if anybody can challenge Canelo. I don't think Plant. I think for Plant, since he's already fought Canelo, if for him to get another shot at Canelo is going to be hard. But he's got to clean out the division as well. But what do you think about the Plant Darrell fight?
I'm gonna go with Darrell, and I'm gonna go with Darrell only for sentimental values. He overcame a car accident. He overcame cancer, and I think people like that are just survivors. And I want to see him win. And the fact that he's 37 years old and he's still hanging around and he's still putting in the work to just be in professional boxing, I'm going with Darrell, man. I'm
Yeah.
going with Darrell.
And to be honest with you, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I would not be surprised if he won because he is.
Mm-hmm.
His nickname is the dog, and he every time I watch him fight, man, he fights like a dog, but he's skilled. I
Yep.
mean, he throws great jabs. He's got great footwork, head movement, and like I said, when he fought Hernandez's last fight, he showed me that he definitely has power, respectable power. I'm
But
picking.
more,
Go ahead.
But more importantly, he's resilient. That's like the
He
biggest
is.
thing for me, man. You can
Yeah.
go through all that in your life and still do what you do. Like I gotta definitely say, I'll definitely go with Darrell because I
Right.
just think that he's gonna pull it out the bag. You
Right.
know?
Right. Well, I'm not doubting you, brother. If he wins, I'm with you because I know he can win. That's why I think I highlighted this fight because I think this fight is going to be a good fight. You know,
Mm-hmm.
be a good fight. I favor Plant because he's the younger boxer. I still think Plant has a chance to still be great. Plant's
Mm-hmm.
got a good story too. I think his daughter ended up dying in some kind of freak accident. Both guys are resilient, but I agree with you on Darrell, man. I'm very impressed by him. And I think if Darrell wins, we have to start putting his name back in the hat as far as
Mm-hmm.
maybe challenging for a belt. It may not be 168. I don't see Canelo giving him a fight. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
but definitely 160. If he goes up, he could also go up to 175, which with him getting older, that might be easy for
Even
him.
him against Triple G would be a decent fight.
I think it would
Yeah.
be a real good fight.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I still think he's got some gas in the tank, like you said, but we'll see, man. I think both guys can put themselves in
Back
a
in
position.
contention.
Yes, yes. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
Caleb Plant, say what you want. He got knocked out by Canelo, but he got knocked out in the later rounds. That's the pound for pound best.
Mm-hmm.
But he showed a great amount of resiliency in that fight. He did some good things in that fight. So I think for both guys, it's a lot on the line. I know for Darrell, it'd be key for him to win because if he doesn't, people will start to write him off as being old and maybe being finished, and maybe he gets that label as a journeyman,
Yep.
versus he might could be a gatekeeper to get to a belt or possibly contend for another belt at 160. So I'm with you. I
Yep.
wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised if he beats Caleb Plant, and I wouldn't be surprised if he outboxes Caleb Plant.
I
So
agree.
yeah, yeah. So let's get to the women's side because we got two big fights for the women this weekend. Number one, the first one I want to talk about, the one for all the marbles, and it is Clarissa Shields, 12-0, with 3 belts at super middleweight, 100. No, it's middleweight actually, because Franchon Cruz is the undisputed champion at super middleweight. So this is a fight at 160 for all belts. Carissa Shields having 3 of those belts. I believe Carissa Shields has the WBA, WBC, and WBO. And no, Carissa Shields has the WBA, WBC, and I think the IBF. And I think Savannah Marshall has the WBO, if I'm correct. But they're fighting this weekend. This is the big fight. There's been a lot of talk about this fight in the sense that Carissa Shields, who's 12-0, is the queen at 160. She is 12-0 with 3 belts. I think she's undisputed. I know she's undisputed one time. I think she's going for number 2 undisputed. I think she the undisputed at, I'm not sure if she undisputed at 168 or maybe she was junior welterweight or super welterweight. I'm not sure, but I know she undisputed one time. So she's going for a record. I don't think we've ever had anybody in boxing, whether it be male or female, go undisputed twice. I could be wrong, but she considers herself the greatest woman of boxing. She's called out multiple people. But yeah, so she's got a WBA, WBC, and IBF, and Savannah Marshall has the WBO. Now, like I said in the intro or at the beginning of it, Savannah Marshall, some people would consider her Carissa Shields' nemesis in the sense that she beat Carissa Shields in the amateurs, and there's been a lot of talk about that. And so this is for all the marbles. Who do you have, and how do you have the outcome of the fight?
Well, looking at Clarissa Shields' record, she doesn't seem too much of a power hitter. Versus Marshall, who has 10 knockouts out of 12, and Marshall, you said, beat her already.
Yes.
In the amateurs. I probably have to go with Savannah at the moment, because she's already proven to beat her and she has the power. I think Clarissa has a lot more motivation because she wants to, get her revenge. And I think sometimes, you ever been in high school, you see the schoolyard bully, and then finally that person that they bully fights back and finally wins. I could see that scenario happen, but I think I'm gonna go with Savannah. I think I'm gonna go. I love power. When it comes to boxing, I love power over technique, because not too many people have that Mayweather technique where they could dodge a whole entire fight and connect and just win points off of just contact. Versus that power, you catch them one time, it's over. So I'm gonna have to say Savannah. I need to watch them both a little bit more for me to really give a better assessment. But I'm just going off of history, and since she's 1-0, I'm gonna stick with that.
I mean, I get that. Some people say when you get a chance, even before the weekend, I'm encourage you, and I encourage anybody that's watching this podcast, go back and watch that fight. I actually sat down and watched that fight because I was hearing people say that was a controversial fight. And when I watched that fight, and I'm not being biased, a lot of people have said this. I don't think Savannah won. And it's been.
You thought it was a draw?
I thought Clarissa won, but at the least it was a draw. And a lot of people have said that. I mean, it's subjective, but knowing what I know, and I'm going to touch on the power thing you say about Savannah, knowing what I know about her power, she dropped some big shots on Carissa that Carissa actually ate. So, anybody, and I think it was, I want to say, they were originally supposed to fight back in September, but because of the passing of the Queen, and because they're fighting overseas, they decided to reschedule it for this weekend. Which I'm going to be honest with you, Cole, man. I'm kind of disappointed in a sense because I really don't want them fighting on the same day as the men. I wanted them to have their own day because it's a lot at stake online. You got 2 fights. These 2 fights are pretty much going to, other than the Serrano and Taylor fight that happened earlier this year, which was a big fight at Madison Square Garden. These 2 fights right here are going to kind of crown, and we'll talk about this next fight with Bumgarner and Mayer for those who don't
Mm-hmm.
know. But these two fights are significant. You got one fight for undisputed. You got one fight for supremacy at 130. And this is going to put this, I think this is the first time, and I could be wrong, but I think this is the first time where this is an all-women's card. And you got two mega fights going on with whoever wins these fights are kind of like the heads of the table as far as women's boxing. So I didn't want them to have these fights on Saturday because I don't want to make boxing fans pick, if they happen to be on at the same time, and it's kind of like I think the women don't get their just due.
Yeah.
But I go back to the fight. I definitely understand why you say that power. And in particular, too, I understand that what you're saying as far as power, because especially in women's boxing, power is a big thing. And I'm not saying that to be like I'm discriminatory or nothing like that. But, when you find women who have power, that kind of sets them apart from the rest of the pack. For example, Ann Wolfe. Ann Wolfe, when she fought, I remember she hit somebody so hard that knocked the girl into next week. If I had that clip, I would show it, but it's one of the greatest knockouts, not just in women's boxing, but boxing, period. And Ann Wolfe went on to have a legendary career. Shout out to Ann Wolfe. She never gets her just due, and Layla Ali ducked her. Let's just be honest. But I definitely understand you going with Marshall. I've just seen Clarissa, and you're 100% right. For as much noise as Clarissa talks, she doesn't have that much power. But I've seen her have superior boxing skills. So I think it's a good fight. I think it's a good matchup. I think whoever wins this fight is the pound for pound queen in boxing to me. It'll be undisputed. For Clarissa, it'll be history. For Mayer, it'll be also be history, but for Clarissa, it'll be a 2-time undisputed. I don't think nobody has done that again in boxing, period. And it's been a lot of bad blood between them, and so I want to see who sits at the top of the mountain. I think Clarissa has a lot more to lose in the sense that she's been saying a lot in the media, crowning herself, and she's done a lot. I think she's even fought in the MMA. I think she's 1-1. So she's done a lot in boxing, and she's put herself out there the way she talks, but she backs it up. But I think she's got a lot more to lose. Frankly, I'm kind of surprised. I'm surprised, but I also give her credit in the sense that being that she is the lineal champion in that division. Again, we're talking about middleweight, 160. Being that she has all 3 belts and Marshall has 1, I'm kind of surprised that she agreed to fight Marshall in her her backyard. And so that shows me that she really wants to send a statement. She, to me, is the A side, and she decided to go over there. It's not like Devin Haney. When Devin Haney fought George Kambosos, Devin Haney had 1 belt, Kambosos had the others.
Yeah.
So, of course, Kambosos would be the A side, so Devin had to go over there, i.e. when Floyd Mayweather fought Oscar De La Hoya, sometimes you do have to, when you're not the A side, go over to the other person's backyard. It's just a little surprising to me that she agreed to it, but it's also can be looked at as if she's a competitor and she really wants to achieve this. So shout out to Clarissa Shields. But the other fight, Alicia Baumgardner versus Michaela Mayer, fighting at the 130-pound division, which is super featherweight. Great fight. Now, these two definitely don't like each other. The trash talk has been off the chain with these two. But fighting at the super featherweight division, and I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Cole, let's see. They're fighting for 3 belts. They're not fighting for undisputed. They're fighting at the 130-pound division. Both of them are from America, I believe, so I don't think it's no significant home court advantage. Baumgardner has 1 belt, and what I mean by that is Baumgardner has the WBC, and she has an IBO, but that's not a that's not one of the major commissions. Remember, we talk about the WBA, WBC, IBF, and WBO. Baumgartner is 11-1 with 7 KOs with the WBC belt. Michaela Mira, which probably makes her the A side, she's 16-0 with 5 KOs. She has the WBA, IBF, and WBO. No, I take that back. She only has the IBF and the WBO because there's another female who has the WBA. So they're fighting for 3 belts. I can imagine whoever wins this will have a chance to go undisputed later on down the line. But this has been real ugly, man. They've been going at it. Some people say because they're both attractive that it's a model fight, but I don't look at it like this. These are both serious, both good boxers. I actually probably will give more of the boxing edge to Mayer. But Baumgartner is probably the better athlete. But I don't know about this fight, Cole. I really don't. I want to go with Baumgartner, but when I watch Mayer, now Baumgartner has 7 knockouts versus Mayer only has 5. But if you watch Mayer box, man, she is a technician. And she's not going to take any chances. Whereas Baumgartner, she has more power. She's the better athlete. I really don't know. I think this is a 50-50 fight. What do you think? Who do you have? I mean, this last fight, I watched Baumgartner and she beat Terry Harper. And when I tell you this is the first time that I've ever seen a woman get knocked out on her feet, I think Baumgartner hit her with a straight right, and you can see Terry Harper's body just froze. And the ref stepped in because she could have, and he did a good job. She really could have been hurt. She froze. I mean, she was literally out on her feet. So that showed me that Baumgartner has legit power. Plus, Baumgartner, she's from the Midwest area. She trains in Detroit under Tony Harrison, who's a big time boxing legend in Detroit. She's got, I've watched videos of her, and she's had a hell of a training camp. But I mean, Mayer is a superior boxer. She's a technician, almost maybe a little bit Floyd-like, maybe a little bit Shakur-like. She doesn't get hit. So I mean, I'm really undecided on this fight. I mean, what do you think? Do you think this is? I think this fight has the potential to be the fight of the year. But who do you have?
You know what? I'm gonna stay in the middle. I'm gonna say it ends up being a draw, and then they have a second fight.
Definitely.
I'm gonna say it's gonna be a draw in the second fight.
I can definitely see that, man. Because again, Mayer doesn't have all the great power, but she's a slick boxer. I mean, my God, Baumgartner can hit, man. And if you watch her in her training camp, man, she has been on it, just like Mayer. But I don't know. I'm with you. I could see this being a draw, and I could see it. I see it going 12 rounds too. But I could see it being a draw. I don't know. I think it's a 50-50 fight.
I would love to see it as a draw, and then they come back with the second match. I usually love when that happens in boxing.
Right. I think they're even, and I think the person who wins this fight, if it's a rematch, whoever wins these fights, they're going to be superior, especially in their division. Whoever wins that fight gets 3 belts. But I think it's a big. I highlighted this because it's a big weekend for the women. And us as boxing heads, even if you're not so much a boxing head, you should support this. They're going to be on ESPN Plus on Saturday because it's an international fight. Both fights. So I think, you got a chance to see history. And when the women fight, they really lay it on the line. So I wanted to highlight this because it's a big, big, big weekend. Shout out to Clarissa Shields, Savannah Marshall, Micaiah Mayer, and Alicia Baumgartner.
Putting women on the map.
Yes. Make history this weekend. All right, let's get into the other stories. Did Draymond Green snuff? And what I mean by snuff, did he sucker punch Jordan Poole, or was it mutual combat, team culture? And how should the Warriors react to this? For those of you who hadn't seen it, let's go to the video to see the fight. If you ain't seen it by now, I don't know where you've been, but we're going to show this video just to see. Yeah, we ready. Shout out to Chuck, man, for coming in and doing an excellent job of producing, putting up this video for us. But going to the video to show the fight in the Golden State Warriors practice, where you see Draymond, the arrow pointing to him, and you see Jordan Poole right over here, and they can see jawing going back and forth, kind of like, hey, somebody's talking, and then you see Draymond slowly walk over, get in his face, Poole pushes him, and then Draymond sleeps him. I mean, literally sleeps him cold. Let me ask you this. I mean, that video looks bad. It looks bad. I got mixed feelings on it. My feeling about it, and we'll go to you next for it, Cole, is number one, if you've ever played in team sports, you ever been in that atmosphere, you know this can happen. It happens more often than the quote
people
unquote
think,
regular person or the everyday working person knows. So when people see this video and it looks bad, it looks like he knocked out Jordan Poole. It looks bad, but this kind of stuff happens. I'm not excusing it, but the problem I have with it, number one, is the video should have never been leaked. And to me, right, it's bothering me with the Udoka situation. This situation, we're living in a culture now where everybody pulls out their phones, everybody wants to record and show. For me, this should have never been aired. It should never be recorded, and it should have never been leaked. Because this kind of stuff, if you operate in a team environment, and I've played on several teams at the Division I level, high school level, AAU level, I've been a part of team culture my whole life. And a team is just like a family. And when you have a family, you're going to have conflict. You might even have fights, physical fights. But it's kind of like, and my parents taught me this, and I'm pretty sure your folks taught you, whatever goes on in this house stays in this house.
In the house.
Right. And, it ain't nothing like your brother and your sister, you and your brother fight, or you and your sister fight, but when it's time to go out in the world, you're going to defend each other. So that happens. It looks bad. But first of all, for me, it should have never been aired. Number two, we have to deal with the fact that we did see it. And it's unfortunate for me because two things, and then I'll let you spin on it. For Draymond, people are going to view you, not saying that I agree with this, but people are going to view you as you're supposed to be the savvy veteran. You're not supposed to react in that way. You're supposed to be the bigger guy. That video, just basically what people see is the bigger, older guy picking on the younger guy. Now I don't necessarily believe that because, again, I've been in team culture, but it looks bad. But like I was telling you the other night, from the organizational standpoint, when you look at it, people are expecting Draymond. He's a leader. People are expecting Draymond to always take the high road in that situation. Now, when players get, when you're on the field, you're on the court, when you're out there, emotions are high. But with that being said, as an organization, to me, for Draymond, it looks bad because, you were negotiating a new contract. And for me, if the issue gets bigger than what it actually is, which I don't think it will, the organization, if they are forced to go and have to choose. And what I mean by that is Draymond represents the past, Jordan Poole represents the future.
But it's tricky though.
It is, but I'm just saying in terms of it, if it ever gets to that point where the organization has to make that decision, which I don't think they will, but if the problem continues to escalate, whatever, or continue to mount, if it ever comes down to the organization having to choose, that's bad for Draymond. And this is what I was telling you the other night. If it comes down to a production thing as to, okay, and this happens all the time with teams. We see it with Shaq and Kobe back in the day with the Lakers, where it came down to where they had to choose between Shaq and Kobe, where they went with Kobe because Kobe was the younger one. In Draymond's situation, it's his age, and Draymond's it doesn't play it doesn't play to his favor as far as his age. And like I was telling you the other night, it doesn't play in his favor in terms of production. And I use the term when you start talking about production in the NBA or in a business period, you got to cut ties, you got to start cutting down on the budget, and it comes down to prioritizing. It doesn't work for Draymond in that sense because his production, numbers wise, what we can look at, what we can quantify, what we can say, when it comes down to us winning, when it comes down to us moving on through the playoffs, and it comes down to us getting to the NBA championship and winning, when you look at production wise, Jordan Poole is starting to be that third guy. I'm talking about points, but when you talk about who gives the team more when it comes to quantifiable data, it's Jordan Poole. That doesn't play in Draymond's favor. Now, again, I know Draymond, you, like a lot of people, believe he's a big part of the Warriors' success, past success for winning championships. I understand that. But I'm telling you, in a sense, where for his age and for his production, if the team has to choose how to move forward, if this situation doesn't, go away, if it's constant conflict between this young guy and Draymond, it doesn't play in Draymond's favor. And that's just how I see it. I don't think it's a snuff by. I tell people all the time it looks worse than what it is. I don't think it's a sneak by Draymond, because at the end of the day, if you walk up on somebody push you, you're gonna swing. Yeah. I don't care. So people need to back up off it because it looks bad. It does look bad. But when you in a fight, man, you're not gonna push somebody push you back and then you're gonna push them again. That's just not gonna happen. But I just think that for Draymond, he's got to be careful in a sense because this is a young guy. The organization is going to always go with the young guy, when it comes to the future. So, I number one, I don't think it should have been aired. Number two, I think Draymond has to be careful. We don't know what was being said, we don't know what was being said, but what's your thoughts on it? How do you feel about it? Is it, how should the Warriors react too?
I think there's a lot of things that come into play. I was watching ESPN earlier. Shout outs to Stephen A. and the rest of the staff over there. But they were talking about how Draymond has 2 years left on his contract, and I think it's a player option. So he's going to be making $27 million a year for the next 2 years after that. And they were saying he probably won't get that money now after he done knocked out Poole. No one's going to give him that money. So he's probably going to opt in. Now you have a concern of being $500 million over the salary cap, the luxury tax, $500 million, not in the $100 million, $500 million, because you still got to sign Wiggins and you still got to sign Poole. They were saying Poole might feel a certain way because they still haven't disciplined Draymond Green. Yeah, he left the team for a little bit, but he's not suspended. So, and there was rumors that he was fully knocked out. It wasn't like he got punched in the face and he got back up. They said he was knocked out. So if that's the case, to Poole, you're thinking this organization ain't taking care of me. I'm young. I'm up and coming. If I go on the market right now, there's 3, 4, 5, 6 teams that's going to give me full max.
Exactly.
So will they keep Draymond? Like, can you trade Draymond? That's the question. He's 34 years old. Can you trade him? And people know that he's going to have 54 million in 2 years left if he opts in. I think what they're going to end up doing is have to lose either Wiggins or Poole. And to be honest with you, they can't lose Wiggins because he's a defensive stopper. Poole could give you buckets, so can Wiggins, but at least Wiggins play a little bit more defense. Or the other option is trading Klay Thompson. That's the only other option. But in regards to,
so you saying that they're gonna keep Draymond no matter what? Why?
I think that. I mean, they could cut him. They could cut him and waive him. That they could do that and cut their losses. But there's no way Draymond's gonna leave $54 million. There's no way Draymond's gonna leave $54 million on the table. And you got to make a choice as an organization. You got to say, hey, Klay Thompson's up there too. Do you rather Jordan Poole or Klay Thompson? You don't want to give up Wiggins. Wiggins is still in his late 20s. You don't want to give up Wiggins. At the end of the day, it's either Klay Thompson or Draymond, and no one's going to take Draymond, and you just don't cut Draymond for nothing. So the odd man out to me is Klay Thompson, or you let Poole leave. When it comes to what Draymond did, I think it's whack. I think that you don't ever hit a teammate or a family member. Like, you might get in a fight with a family member. You might get in a fight with someone, but you don't hit them like they someone on the street. And they were saying that Draymond was having personal issues that he brought to the practice that day, that it wasn't nothing really, that he didn't really know how to manage his emotions or whatever that was, but whatever happened in his personal life that caused him to do that. I'm not excusing it, but I could see that. I could see how it can happen. But at the same time, you don't hit your teammate like that. And I think that he should have been punished just for the fact that you got to set a precedence for your organization to say, so that everyone feels protected. It's like the Me Too movement. You can't just say, oh, I'm not going to say nothing and we're going to put this under the table. She's just a woman or whatever. No, you got to speak up. If something's wrong, it's wrong. At the end of the day, they should have punished Draymond. But to your narrative, I don't think they can win without Draymond. And I think Draymond's important to what they're building because he is their culture. At the end of the day, I felt like he's the main person that has established their culture over there with Golden State.
But what does that mean? What do you mean when you say he established their culture? Like what do you mean by that? That could mean so many things. That's such a broad statement. What does that mean? He established? Because what is he established since? What has he established while in Golden State that you think is define their culture? Like, tell me what that is.
So I'll give you an example. I feel like there's certain coaches in the NBA, certain coaches in football, certain players in organizations that define a culture and how you're going to come in here, what type of attitude, what type of work ethic. There's players like Ray Lewis who does that. Like, you come into the Ravens, you're going to work hard, you're going to be hard-nosed, you're going to play tough D, you're going to play physical defense. You look at New England Patriots, you got Belichick. You're gonna play for them. There ain't no egos there. There ain't no personalities. It's one brain, and it's gonna operate the whole body of the organization. And that's how it works. When it comes to Draymond, he establishes this is gonna be team ball. We're gonna play together. We're gonna play hard. Ain't no time off. I'm gonna hold you accountable. If I see you slipping, if I see you not practicing hard, if I see you slip on a play, we're gonna address that right there, and we're gonna confront that, and we're gonna fix that. And I feel like leadership like that is hard to find. And if they lose that, I could see them just being another average team. Granted, not average team. I could see them making it to the semifinals or the Western Conference Finals. But that toughness, they're going to lose it. Just like Ja Morant brings a different type of toughness to Memphis. You get what I'm saying? Just like Tom Thibodeau he goes to any team he goes to, players might get tired of Tom Thibodeau, but wherever he goes to, players learn how to play with discipline. Players learn how to play hard, not 10 minutes, not 20 minutes, not 30 minutes, no, 48 minutes of the game. That's what Tom Thibodeau brings to a team. And that's the type of culture that I feel like Draymond brings. He's the voice. He's the heart. He's that guy when it comes to that. I'm not saying he's great. He's averaged 7, but we also can't take away the fact that he's been defensive player of the year. He's been, first team all NBA. He's had a lot of accolades. He's not just some bum off the street, which I think you think sometimes.
I'm not saying he a bum. I'm not saying that.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, he was a part of them winning multiple championships.
He was a main part, not just a part. Like he's a
That,
main
but
part.
see, that's where I disagree at.
Mm-hmm.
Because you telling me that, and people say that when you say he's the main part, like you trying to sell everybody on this culture thing. Okay, let's talk
Mm-hmm.
about the culture of the Golden State Warriors and how Draymond contributes to that. What is the culture of the Golden State Warriors? Okay, we'll go point for point. Number one, right?
Mm-hmm.
I guess the culture is what they play hard. Okay, they
They
play
played
hard.
together.
They
Mm-hmm.
they play together. Okay. And so you think that Draymond Green, what he does, he contributes, or he's the main author of them playing hard and playing together. That's what you're saying.
I'll give you an example. When
Give me an
Kevin Durant,
example, please.
When Kevin Durant was there, how many players of Draymond Green's stature? Because you say 7, 7, and 7, he averaged 7, 7, and 7. Hasn't had no scoring title. Hasn't like been the all league player of a great team. But how many players of his caliber can speak up to Kevin Durant and put Durant in his place and tell him you're not playing hard enough, you're not doing this, you're not doing that. This is
So
something
because
different.
because he tells him that he's not doing his job, that translate. Are you saying that like not everybody can say that to Kevin Durant?
Not
Is that
everyone,
what that
not
means?
it's not just not everyone can say it. Not everyone knows how to do it. Everyone knows how to articulate it, and not everyone's going to be respected when doing that.
Okay,
Draymond's different.
okay, but so all right, if that's the case, that demands a certain skill set, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so did you see that when he punched this Jordan Poole? Did you see that knowing how to talk to somebody, knowing how to get somebody? What did you
But
see
you
in
know
that
what?
video?
We all have those moments. We, as a father, there's just I'm pretty sure there's times you discipline your child, and then you're like, "Dad, I was a little bit too hard." You know, I wish I could take that conversation back that I just had with my child. And we all make mistakes, and I think that's what we gotta learn, that we gotta extend grace to people. Like he I'm pretty sure he feels stupid. I'm pretty sure his family is like, yo, you're not representing our name and what you did, and you need to apologize to Jordan Poole, not just personally but publicly. So I get what you're saying with that, but it still doesn't take away his value and what he brings in leadership. Like
So
some
okay,
people could lead organizations, and you can't like you can have CEOs of organizations that come in and just build winners and just
okay, so
and they might not.
okay, so let me ask you this. Let me ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
So if you take Draymond Green, okay, so you saying what Draymond Green has, it helps the Warriors, it contributes to them winning.
Yes,
So if you take Draymond Green off the Warriors, can you put him on any team and he does that with any team?
I think he'll be respected in any locker room for his basketball IQ, and I think he'll make a team better. It's like Tom Thibodeau. Like I said, you might not think Tom Thibodeau's a championship caliber coach, but any player that he works with, they get better.
Okay, let me play devil's advocate on that because
Mm-hmm.
I want to play devil.
Mm-hmm.
So if I take Draymond Green off the Golden State Warriors, because what according to you and a lot of people, he's
Mm-hmm.
he's got he's got the winning formula in terms of
Yeah.
he brings a winning culture, or
Mm-hmm.
he's the author of the winning culture, like you said. So
Mm-hmm.
if I take Draymond Green off Golden State and I put him on the Sacramento Kings, does he turn the culture around? And when he turns the culture around, does that translate into them winning? Because they've been losing since Mike Bibby left.
Does it translate to
So Drake. So what you're saying is what Draymond Green has is valuable, and what he does for the Golden State Warriors. You use the phrase he's respected in every locker room in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
So if he's got such a winning pedigree and he's got such a winning vibe or winning influence, can he take that and take it to a team like a Sacramento Kings?
I think he could.
What Draymond has, does he take it to Sacramento and they become contenders?
See, I'm not going to say they become contenders because that's different. He has a different level of caliber of talent playing with him. He has all-world Steph Curry, all-world Klay Thompson. They're Olympians, they're champions, they're whatever. I get that. But they don't win without him either. And a proven example is that finals where he got suspended and they blew a 3-1 lead in the game 5, and then come back and win the next 2. They took the momentum all because he got suspended.
So you saying they lost that game because he didn't play?
They lost that game. They lost that series because he didn't play
for one game.
For one game, they had that series under control, 3-1. I'm pretty sure there's 20, 30. I wish we could call people on today, and people will probably attest to that and say, I agree. I remember that series. They was up 3-1 on the Cleveland Cavaliers. They was in the driver's seat until Draymond got the technical and got suspended and blew the whole series.
So you base that on the fact that Draymond, when he went out, they changed the momentum of the series for the Golden State Warriors.
I think it changed the momentum of the series for the Golden State Warriors. I think that I'm not saying that he'll take Sacramento Kings to the championship, because we know he ain't going to take the Sacramento Kings to the championship. But I think that if he was on the team, I bet you they'll contend for a play-in. See, with the talent that they have, Sabonis, Fox, Davion Mitchell, and Keegan Murray, I think they would be competitive. They would play hard every single night, and they wouldn't take nights off.
I don't know,
because certain people are just culture changers. That's just how I feel. I think he's a culture changer.
You saying what he brings, what he establishes, he establishes a winning culture,
and
you're saying that I asked you if that's such an important thing, can he make the Sacramento Kings win? And you said that they don't have the talent. His impact.
I said his impact can lead to a playing game or lead to them being a lot better team, but they won't win because the West is stacked. It's a different thing. Like, Sacramento has great talent. Don't get me wrong, but they don't have the talent of Denver. They don't have the talent of the Clippers. Okay. They don't have the talent of but they will be better with Draymond Green. They'll be a lot better with Draymond Green.
So they'll be a lot better with Draymond Green.
A lot better with Draymond Green. A lot better, because he does winning things. He creates winning plays. He sets people up. He puts people in the right places. He holds people accountable. He changes the culture. He changes the attitude, the mindset. He brings a winning mindset to the team.
Okay, so what does that look like for the Sacramento Kings? Give me one thing that he does on the court that will allow them, a team who has not been in playoff contention since Mike Bibby.
Here you go.
What does Draymond Green bring to the court?
Consistency.
Okay, effort. What does that look like? Consistency in what? Because you can be consistent. You can be consistent and turn the ball over. You can be consistent and fouling out of a game. You can be consistent of making negative plays. Give me something specific. What can he do consistently that can help the Sacramento Kings get to the play-in game?
He'll teach them how to play hard all the time. That's one thing that young teams don't do. Is that they don't play hard all the time.
And how does he do that? What does that look like?
Through holding people accountable. You know what it is. You played on the team. You know how it is to be held accountable by a coach, to be held accountable by the star player, by someone who's going to just speak up and make sure that, hey, you in your right spots, who's going to make the winning plays, who's going to show the effort, not just tell you, but he's going to give the effort and show this is how it's done. I'm going to dive on the floor. I'm going to set this hard screen. I'm going to hustle hard. I'm going to guard the best player. These are the things that he does, that a lot of young players, they just want to score. If they ain't scoring, their whole game is off. But he does the little things and says, you know what, if I'm not scoring, I'm going to impact the game with rebounding. If I'm not scoring, I'm going to impact the game with assists. If I'm not scoring, I'm going to cheer my team on. Granted, that sounds like some cheerleader stuff or whatever, blah, 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 but he does it. And that's what a lot of players don't do. And that's what he brings to the table. And his basketball IQ, the way he studies films and does those things, you could tell. I don't watch a lot of basketball and see a lot of players do what he does or make sense of plays or make the small little plays that he does. This new age player just wants to shoot threes, wants to play 5 out and one-on-one, and Draymond does the little things. Like, you know it. You played D1 basketball. You should know. You see the game. You can tell that Draymond's different from other players.
Well, let me go back to your examples of Ray Lewis. Okay, for one, Ray Lewis, what he brought to the team, what did you say about Ray Lewis? You said Ray Lewis was a leader, right?
Yeah. And I know you're gonna say, oh, Ray Lewis was a Hall of Famer. Ray Lewis was one of the best linebackers ever. We're not gonna compare that. Give me another example.
You the one who brought the example up. You said Ray Lewis. I'm going through your examples. You said Ray Lewis. Okay. So let's go down your list of examples. Ray Lewis. Number one, pound for pound. I'm getting caught up in boxing, but not. I shouldn't say pound for pound, but stats wise,
I'll give you an example. I'll give you an example of a coach who's similar to Draymond.
no. I don't want to coach because see, here's the thing. This is what I'm trying to get you to understand. That comparison you just made to a coach, okay, is not a plausible comparison when we talking about. I'm asking you about production on the court. Of course, you can point to a coach because that's a coach's job to put the players in the right position. Okay, he's not a coach. Okay, he plays. So when you play, when you are a player, what makes you a player is your contribution to your team and the game.
All right, so Charles Oakley.
Okay, Charles Oakley. Now,
great culture changer, played hard, set the tone, make sure that.
And what was his numbers compared to Draymond's? Let me pull it up. Let me pull it up because again, I want to see. Let's say Charles Oakley. All right, you use Charles Oakley, right? You said
Charles Oakley. We're gonna use Charles Oakley.
We're gonna use Charles Oakley because we comparing Charles Oakley to Draymond Green. Okay, let's see. Let's see. Hold on. Let's see. So for career-wise, they might be comparable. It says, let's see. It says he played in 1,282 games. He averaged, let's see, for a career, he averaged how many rebounds? He averaged 9.5 rebounds. That's significant production. He averaged 9 points a game, 31 minutes. So 9 and 9. Okay, that's not bad. You know, that's not bad. 9 and 9. How many assists? 2.5. Okay. All right. So Charles Oakley, 9.9, 9.5, and 9.7. Okay. That might be a good comparison. Now, 9 rebounds a game. That's significant, right?
That is.
That's production, right?
What's his assist, though? What's his assist?
We're gonna get to assists because we're gonna go to Draymond's career stats too. But 9 point something rebounds, right? That's pretty good, right? That's contribution, right? Okay. Let's see what Draymond numbers might be better than Oakley's. Okay. But let's see his career stats thus far because he's still playing. Let's see. Oh, let's see. Oh, wow. Okay. All right. So let me.
What was the oh wow? I want to hear the oh wow. Let me hear the oh wow because I want to hear
right
the oh wow.
Right now, and my internet could be off. Internet could be off. You know, hey, listen. I think the studio has the best internet. Shout out to Chuck and Mo Serious. This internet is working fine. But according to my internet, the stats on Draymond Green career-wise, because you telling me what he does is he helps them win. So right now for his career, his average rebounds is 6.9. His points right now, 8.7.
Right? So 9 points. You might as well just say same as Oakley. 9 points. You round it up.
I give you that. So right now, 28.5 minutes a game. 31%.
Oakley was 31.
31%, 5.4 assists, 1 steal, and he's averaging 1 block. So you telling me with those stats and him being able to, I'm trying to envision what you're saying, him being able to do this. Jordan, you're not running hard enough. Run hard. Looney, don't cut there, cut here. You didn't cut the right way. So with 8.7 points a game and 6.9 rebounds a game, that, what I just said, what you just named, is a big reason why the Golden State Warriors have won multiple championships.
No, I would say it's the
shooting 31.5% from free throw line, 44% field goal, 685 games, 28.5 minutes.
Hold on.
One block, one steal, 5 assists. That along with telling people.
So time out. Let me add something for the viewers because you leaving something out.
Okay, yeah, I want to hear this.
4-time NBA All-Star, NBA All-Second Team, All-NBA Third Team, NBA Defensive Player of the Year, 4-time All-Defensive First Team, 3 times All-Defensive Second Team, NBA Steals Leader. These are all the things on his resume, and there's
which are subjective opinions. I'm giving you the numbers. That is somebody's opinion.
But numbers don't tell everything. Numbers don't tell everything.
Numbers don't tell everything.
So I'll give you a prime example. You get a salary at work. Does it tell all the work that you do at work? Are you undervalued? Or are you overvalued? Numbers don't mean everything. No,
that doesn't.
Numbers don't mean everything.
So let me say this. With how many All NBA teams he got?
He has he's All NBA third team, All NBA second team, NBA Defensive Player of the Year. He's 4 times.
He's got 4
All NBA Defensive Second Team. He's
so
All NBA third team
with 4, like you said, with subjective opinion from his peers, All NBA, All Defensive Player of the Year, all that stuff, along with career stats wise, 8.7 points a game, 6 rebounds, 5.4 assists, 1.4 steals, and 1 block a game. And him being able to tell Jordan Poole, Kevon Looney, Andre Iguodala where to be on the court, how to run hard, which you grown men, I don't get that, grown men who get paid to do this. So what you're saying is, that is valuable. Those stats along with what you said contributes to the Warriors. It's a big part because you said it's a big part.
So you tell me
winning championships.
Yeah. So you tell me what's the difference between having a supervisor who tells you how to do your job when you signed on for a job, you have a job description. There's no difference in that.
But Draymond, what made you? Let's use that example for a supervisor. You know how your supervisor became a supervisor? Their performance. Right?
Not necessarily. Now, you know, people get moved up in positions where they never even heard it. That's subjective. That's subjective again.
But we talking about people. That it is subjective, but we talking about legit people. We're not just talking about people who just get jobs because they know somebody. But we talking about usually when you move to a leadership role, whether it be a company or a team, it has to be your production, right? Okay.
So you tell me this. With your statement right there, right?
Right.
Knowing what you know about Charles Oakley and knowing all the accolades that Draymond get, if both of them you had their resume there and you about to make them a GM, a coach, or give them a last spot on a team, who you giving them the spot to? You see the videotape, but you also have all the accolades. You know you're gonna give it to Draymond.
No.
Nah, man. Yeah, why would you give it to Oakley if he hasn't been first team all defense? 3-time all.
Because to me, and this is subjective, you're right, but to me, my opinion, this NBA that Draymond is playing in is not the same NBA that Charles Oakley played in. So of course, Draymond Green looks all those accolades you named for Draymond. If he played in Charles Oakley's NBA, he'd be on the bench. To me, I think he's a tough guy because the league is soft. Now that's subjective. You're right. That's subjective. That's
I think that would allow Draymond to play even harder. I think Draymond could play even dirtier if he wanted to in the old league.
Dirtier. Exactly. I'm glad you said that. Dirtier. Dirtier. That's exactly what
you twisted my words. You twisted my words.
No, that's what you said. You said dirtier. That's exactly what I mean. Because in your heart of hearts and all you Draymond Green fans, that's what he does. He averages 6 rebounds a game. I'm 6 foot. I think I averaged 6 rebounds a game when I played. He 8.7 points a game. I'm just saying. I mean, again, I get what you're saying. Like I told you, I get what you're saying. The guy that does all the intangibles. I get that. But LeBron does all the intangibles. But look at his production.
That's different. We ain't comparing LeBron. No,
but I'm just saying. I'm talking about. I'm using the example of intangibles. That's all I'm saying. What you saying? He bringing to the game.
Mm-hmm.
When Clay and Steph were out, whether it was a year ago or 2 years ago, he did absolutely nothing, and the Warriors didn't win. It's easy for you to be the tough guy when you got 2 Hall of Famers on your team, because that's the only role you can do. You can't score. Y'all talk about him playing defense. That's subjective. I've never seen him lock nobody up. I've seen him play somebody hard.
I seen him play LeBron good and play him hard in the finals.
Yeah,
I'm not saying he locked them up. You know
what that example is about? This what used to kill me about people with Shane Battier in Houston. People would be like, "Yeah, Shane Battier played Kobe, play him tough. He stops Kobe." Every time Shane Battier played Kobe, Kobe had 40, and the Lakers won. So, I mean, listen, man, I need numbers, because to me, and I told you this, when they start saying all that kind of stuff, oh, he makes the great pass, the great play, he does this, he does that, he makes the right plays. To me, that's just them because they like you and they don't have any numbers, any significant numbers to put out on you. Oh, he's the glue. He's the glue of the team. He's the guy that keeps the guys together. What the hell does that mean with grown men who getting paid millions of dollars? Please, man.
But there's people always putting up numbers that don't equate to winning too.
That's true. But when it comes to contract negotiation, when it comes to, okay, what do we need in terms of making this team better? This guy is producing. We just not winning. At the end of the day, you're exactly right in terms of there are different things that comes to when it comes to you talk about having a formula for winning. I get it. It's not just scoring points. But this Draymond thing, this Draymond Green thing, this he's the glue that holds it together. He's the guy that puts the right guy in the right spot. Stop it. Stop it. That's what Steve Kerr does. Hey, we're going to draw up a play. Who you supposed to be over here? Like, stop. Stop with the Draymond. Stop.
I see Draymond drawing up plays in that huddle too, man. I'm just saying, man.
Listen, ain't got nothing to do. Listen, ain't got nothing to do with production, man. Production, man. But hey,
but you know what? Just for the sake of it, and for the sake of this, though, I wouldn't mind seeing them get rid of Draymond, so I can prove my point that they will win a chip without him now.
I mean, whatever. I mean, listen, on a team like the Knicks, let's talk about your Knicks. On a team like the Knicks, yes. But you know why? Just like Golden State, they have people in places. So I think he works what you're talking about, his intangibles, with the team that's already established.
Yes.
I feel the same way about Durant. I don't think you can put Durant on the team like you can LeBron and say, you don't have nothing, make something happen. I think Durant has to have other things around him.
He has to have people that do the little things.
Exactly. and
like,
and not even just the little things.
He's a game manager to an extent, and like in the NFL, like you give.
Well, that's what I feel about Durant. Durant,
that's what I'm saying.
I always have this conversation with you about an MVP versus a scorer.
Mm-hmm.
A most valuable player does whatever they have to do to win, whether it be some nights is scoring, some nights is scoring and rebounding, some nights is playing the toughest person.
Mm-hmm.
Durant, to me, much like Melo, are elite scorers.
I agree with that.
Which means that the way they contribute to the game, the way they want to contribute to the game is putting the ball in a hole. That doesn't necessarily translate into winning. It's one of the things you have to win. And then you put a Draymond with that. But it still has to be, things have to be established. That's why I use the example of Draymond with the Sacramento Kings. You put Draymond on the Kings, they don't do nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying. And so, but if you put Draymond with guys who can score, guys who can do this, but they may need a little bit of toughness, okay. But that's not a big part of winning that. He doesn't represent a big part of winning a championship like that. He just doesn't.
I don't know, man.
I'll give you this. He brings an important part to winning a championship. What he brings is important, but no, he can be replaced. He definitely can be replaced. In my situation, if it ever comes down to him and Poole, you know how I feel. There's no question.
No. I'm definitely taking Poole because he's younger, but I don't think they're going to be able to afford him.
You're right. Contract-wise, you're right.
If Draymond opts in, because think about it, you just punch your teammate in the face. You have to take that $27 million in. You 34
You're right
years
about
old.
that.
You ain't that good to be getting more than that. Like we even talked about it. Like it's hard to say what you would give him on the market right now, especially after being punched someone in the face. I'll probably give him 2 years, 22 mil, maybe.
Yeah, you're right.
Something like that.
Yeah, you're right. I can't argue with that. On that part, yeah, that's contractual wise. I get what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
I get what you're saying. All right, well, look, we got a few more minutes. We got a couple of topics here, but let's go to, because I don't think we're gonna be able to get to these now, but we'll get to them next week. Let's go to the LeBron James situation.
Mm-hmm.
Should LeBron James be considered the greatest after passing Kareem in scoring? Kareem currently, and he's retired, is at 38,387 points. LeBron is at 37,062. We know that LeBron's going to pass him.
Mm-hmm.
LeBron's going to pass him quickly, or soon, rather. Should he be considered the GOAT, or should he be considered? Oh man. Should he be superior? Should he be considered? Yeah, should he be considered the GOAT if he passes Kareem?
It's hard. He's going to pass Kareem with less amount of games. That's one. He's going to pass Kareem probably with a higher scoring average, because right now he's doing 27, 7, and 7. Right. Kareem was 24, 11, and 3. Right. And Jordan was 36 and 5. Right. And Jordan, we all know Jordan retired early. He could have probably played another 2-3 years and still been dominant and probably left with the scoring title, but he didn't. So with all that said, the amount of championships that he's won and how he won and the fashion that he won it, the Miami Heat one was questionable because he went to Miami and played with other superstars. But for him to go to Cleveland, bring a championship there, and then go to LA and bring a championship there in the stacked West Coast, it's hard for me not to say that if he wins this year, I think no doubt in anyone's mind that he's the greatest of all time, because he's not even supposed to win this year.
So right now, if he wins a championship. So let's say that if he wins another championship, whether it be, because he's probably going to stick around for probably about 3 to 4 or 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
If he wins another championship this late in his career, does that cement his GOAT status in your mind?
I think it does. For him to play 20 years, for him to play, and especially if he does it, he's averaging 25 or more. I think no one's ever did that. Like, to play 20-something years in this league with how many playoff? He played so many playoff games that he surpassed so many people that played in regular season games. That's the crazy thing. Like, he has a lot of mileage on his body, but he doesn't slow down. He just refines his game every year. And for a player to be able to step on the court and be super athletic, and then years later build a post game, and years later build a jump shot that's consistent, and just changing and evolve his game based on the era of the NBA says a lot about someone who works hard at their craft, and says a lot about someone's basketball IQ, and says a lot about someone's just naturally born talent. It's hard for me to say anyone's better than Jordan, but if I had to say it would be him.
Right.
Like, he's a made up person. Like, he's like a fullback with jumping ability out the gym, with Magic Johnson vision and IQ, and he makes everyone bet. Wherever he goes, he wins. Wherever he goes, he wins.
Yeah, and you know what? It's hard for me too. I'm biased because of Michael Jordan. But I mean, I gotta start giving LeBron his just due.
And you know me, in college, I couldn't stand LeBron. You know me,
right.
For me to even sit here and say that, I couldn't stand him for nothing, man.
Right. I saying the greatest of all time is so subjective and it's difficult. Because I mean, there's so many different criterias, but for the sake of this topic, he's got to be on my Mount Rushmore. It's a hard time for me to say the greatest of all time, because not to mention we're not talking about Kareem, we're not talking about Wilt.
Magic.
People don't talk about Wilt like I think they should. With the things that Wilt was able to do. And now people say, well, he was playing against people who was, plumbers and cab drivers, short guys, stuff like that. I get that. The level of competition compared to Wilt is, that's a valid point.
But can I ask you a question though? Do you think that you can have a greatest of all time and a most dominant?
Yeah, Wilt could be in that, because people will say Wilt and Shaq belong in that most dominant. But you got to also remember, man, Wilt Chamberlain, I think he benched something like 600 pounds and he ran marathons. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I mean, people sleep on Wilt, and that has to do with his dominance, like you said. I, of course, in college, like you said, I was pro LeBron, and I still am pro LeBron. I give LeBron a pass. I give LeBron GOAT status, like I told you the other night, because of how he did it. His role to GOAT status is so important to me, because I think people sleep on this. And this is what I talk about in terms of him and Jordan. LeBron's role is unique in the sense that LeBron, in 1 year, his senior year, he won a state championship. The following year, next year, he was averaging 20 points for an NBA team and was starting. You see what I'm saying? And so he came into the league a grown man, where we watched Michael Jordan develop. We watched Michael Jordan from high school to college get better. Of course, he had athleticism, but you watch Michael Jordan develop into something great. You know what I'm saying? LeBron James came into the league great, and LeBron James came into the league at high school. And for him, when you look at that, his maturation process versus a Jordan and Kobe, it's just totally different. It's totally different. The expectation levels for LeBron were different than was Jordan. Jordan, much like Kobe, was allowed to go and advance to greatness. Think about what he went through against Detroit. Think about what he went through when he first got there. The criticism that he took. People said that he hogged the ball, but nobody expected Michael Jordan to come into the league and win 6 championships.
In the fashion that he done it too.
Right. That expectation level wasn't there. Whereas LeBron, people expected that. And I think a lot of times people say LeBron overachieved. underachieved rather because of the expectations that was set for him. You see what I'm saying? Like, you know, it's easy to criticize LeBron, because you expect him. I told you when he came here last year, when I watched him play, when the Lakers played the Rockets, it was like I'm sitting there watching him and I'm saying to myself, and again, I'm watching him play the Rockets. We're not good, but we're hanging around. AD wasn't there. And when I watched that Laker team, I saw a team that, for number one, like I told you, the team was built for Anthony Davis to be the number one option. And when he wasn't there, the team looked out of place.
Yeah.
And I kept seeing LeBron trying to, come on, guys, come on. He's trying to get these guys to kind of step into a different role because AD is not there. I see him passing up shots. And I'm saying to myself, I'm becoming frustrated because I'm looking at him. I'm like, all he got to do to win this game is just, I'm taking over the game. I'm not passing the ball, which was what Kobe would have done, which was what Jordan would have done. But I'm sitting there watching him defer and pass the ball to his teammates. And I'm saying to myself, this is so frustrating watching this. But then I'm watching him do that. I'm watching him not take shots, passing up shots, making an extra pass. And the Rockets are taking the lead. They staying in the game, but so I'm sitting there watching, I'm getting frustrated, and then all of a sudden you could just see him say, okay, it's time for me to win this game. And I'm telling you, he didn't even look like he was serious, and he ended up having 32 points. Now, granted, the Rockets weren't that good, but it's frustrating to me because I could see why people would be upset with him, because when you see what he has and what he can do, he can just take over the game. But that's not his mindset. You see what I'm saying? His mindset is to make other people better. With that being said, he has to be one of the greatest of all time when he passes Kareem, because LeBron, if he decided to have that Jordan mindset, if he decided to have that Kobe mindset, I'm telling you right now, I saw it physically. There's nothing nobody, not even Giannis. And even as great as Giannis is, Giannis might give him some problems, but I'm telling you, there's nothing nobody can do. Yeah. So considering that, his mindset versus Jordan and Kobe, considering his maturation process, for him to be able to, he's going to pass. And some people say, well, it's a longevity accomplishment. True. But you still have to play at a high level to be able to get there. And so for him to be in year 20 and have a chance to do this
says everything.
He's definitely got to be in the GOAT debate.
You.
Yeah, go ahead, Cole.
Yeah, no, and I said, and without trying, this is just something that he's just done naturally in the flow of the game, right, and letting the game come to him throughout his whole career. Because like you said, he could have easily averaged 30, 40 points a game if he wanted to every single night.
Right. I think he definitely has to be in the GOAT debate. And we got to give him his credit if he passed Kareem. He's going to pass Kareem.
Yeah, he will.
So with that being said, man, we're going to stop there. We didn't get a chance to. We'll get into the NBA next week. I think the Draymond conversation got us going. That took up a lot of time. But next week, when we come back, we'll talk about the NBA regular season. We'll have a game or two before the podcast starts. So we'll be able to talk about Cole. We'll talk about the opening night and what we see. And then we'll make our regular season previews, our predictions, NBA, who we got for NBA MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, best teams by division, Rookie of the Year, who's our dark horses of the team of the East and the West, meaning who's the teams that we think are going to come out of nowhere, who could be the sixth man of the year. And of course, our opinion, just like we did with the NFL, who is the team that we got to win it all? Who do we think will win it all? So we'll do that next week, because next week is the NBA, the kickoff to the NBA 2022-2023 season. There's a lot of good things going on. So we'll get to that next week. We'll discuss also the first games that we do on opening night. And we may even talk a little bit about the New York Knicks and the Houston Rockets, who are both, I think, look good in preseason.
And we have to touch on the Houston Naturals and the Yankees.
Oh, yeah, we'll get a little bit into the baseball playoffs. I'm trying not to get too excited because of what the Astros did last night. On Alvarez with the game-winning home run in the ninth inning over the Seattle Mariners. ended up being an 8-7 victory for Houston, and Houston struggled mostly through that game. But yes, we will touch a little bit on the baseball playoffs next week. But with that being said, Cole, we had another good episode. It's been real. All the way from Mo City to the Big Apple, New York City. We'll catch up next week and do it again. Catch us next week live on Debate with Bait. Thank you for tuning in. Stream this on Spotify, Apple, Google, or wherever you get your podcasts, wherever you listen to your podcasts at. Follow Mo Serious Entertainment on Instagram and Facebook. Subscribe to Mo Serious Entertainment. Want to thank Cole again for bringing the heat. Always, brother, bless you, a.k.a. Gerard Cole, a.k.a. Rule Boy. I am your host, Mr. Charles Baker, AKC Bake. And that's it for Debate with Bake, Episode 9. We'll see you next week for the NBA kickoff.
Peace.